Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Pause the video right now to check out my social media, my radio show, and thatdrummerguy.com. And most of all, enjoy the following presentation.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for taking the time to be able to do this interview.
No worries. No worries.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about the brand new self-titled album from Asking Alexandria, which comes out this Friday through Sumerian Records. I've gotten the chance to be able to check this out over the last few days, and I really love the direction that you guys are going in. One word that I've constantly seen describe this album is very anthemic, and I think that's a great way to describe it. I mean, every song really stands out on its own, and it does really have that anthemic feel to prove that Asking Alexandria is here to stay.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely feel like we've definitely tried to capture, you know, a large, you know, sound. I think that can be associated with, you know, like an anthemic sort of vibe, as you were. No, yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with how it's all come out. You know, it's been a great time writing it, a great time recording it, and I can't wait to get it out to the world.
So, with that, how did the writing process for this self-titled album begin?
I mean, we started writing this album. I mean, we've had there's songs on the album that were demoed months and months ago, maybe even over a year ago. You know, and they're maybe not exactly how they were back then. They may have changed, you know, there's variations and whatnot. But yeah, it's been sort of a long time of, like, you know, putting together songs, putting together ideas. Because this time around we actually recorded, and the album was produced by our good friend Matt Good. And so the whole process was a little bit different. It was a little bit laid back. So he's based in Arizona, and you know, vast majority of Asking is actually based in Arizona too. So, and I mean, myself, I live in Austin, so I'm only a hop, skip, and a jump away. So we were sort of back and forth, in and out of the studio, you know, like, over the course of months. It wasn't so much of like, okay, sweet, you're coming in on the 1st of this month and you are in for this many weeks, and at the end of it, please have an album done, sort of thing. It was very much that we could have like a chilled, laid back outlook on creating an album, you know, which was a really organic, a real nice process. I think we all really enjoyed doing it that way. You know, so if we, you know, whilst we were writing, because we wrote a lot of stuff, you know, in the studio, you know, if we weren't feeling it, we could be like, oh, well, we can just go, we can break, we can go for dinner, we can just chill, but we'll leave it for the day, you know, come back tomorrow. And, you know, it wasn't harsh schedules or like time frames. It was just a really chilled out experience, and I feel like the songs sort of just fell out more than anything, you know? It was a really easy writing experience.
And that makes me very happy to hear that too, because I always feel that the best albums are the ones where, of course, there's always going to be a little bit of pressure. I mean, there's always going to be pressure from the label and the fan base and everything that goes into being a band. But when there's so much relaxing and chill experiences that can go into writing an album, those always make for the best albums.
Yeah, and I feel like you can get a vibe, like, obviously there's always pressure of like, you have to, you know, just the quality of the work you need to be doing is good, you know, like you need, but that's easy to tell. Like, once, even early on, like we were, you know, writing some songs, you know, feeling the vibe of them, and everyone's loving them, the label's loving them, we're loving them. You know, these are great. You know, we knew that what we were doing was good and was up to standard. And we, you know, time frame wise, I mean, shit, we have loads of songs. We have too many songs. There's a lot of songs that have not made the album because we literally just we don't need them. There's not enough room. You know, we can't go and release like a 17 song album. It just doesn't really make sense in this day and age. So yeah, so there wasn't really a lot of pressure. You know, because like I said, we knew what we were doing was good. Like we were into it. Everyone was into it. It's like this feels good. This feels right. You know, and then I think that even can act as a bit of a catalyst and spur you on even more. You know, and once the ball's rolling, you know, it's a snowball effect, and you know the songs come out even better. It's easier, it's more fun. You know, you're capturing good takes. Like the quality of the sound you're creating is better. I feel like when you've got those good vibes in the studio.
Yeah, and I couldn't possibly agree more with that. I mean, with being in band situations myself and knowing so many friends and family that have been a part of writing processes for different styles of music, when you don't have all that added pressure that can happen, whether there's like animosity with the band or there's outside influences in life that are seeping into the recording studio. I mean, there's so many things that can hinder an album, but when everything starts connecting in all the right cylinders, everyone in the band is just feeling everything's going in the right direction, the songwriting's coming out great, the production sound is coming out, the recording process is going so good, it easily makes for a great album, and that's exactly what happened here.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, for sure. Like everything just clicked. Everything clicked right, you know, and there wasn't really like, you know, we sort of knew what we were set out to do, and then you know, as we were going through, we were like, you know, this is working. Everything's going right. It sounded great. That, you know, we were getting mixes back, you know, and they were just sounding fucking awesome, and like it was cool, man. It was just a great experience. It's probably I'd say definitely my favorite recording experience I've personally ever had. You know, it was just a lot of fun, and it's cool. You're just doing it with your friends. You know, like Matt's our friend, his engineer's our friend. Like obviously the whole band, they're my friends. You know, we're around the place where they live, so we've got a load of friends there too. It was just more like more like summer camp, where, you know, we were just making an album, and it was going really well. It was just good fun.
So, in speaking of that, you also mentioned that you guys possibly have like too many songs to go onto an album at one point in time. How do you guys narrow it down to decide what songs are going to make it onto said album?
You know what? I get asked this an awful lot, and you know, and there's not really any easy way to put it. You know, it's difficult, you know, like, and you can go into a studio and you always have enough or more songs than enough when you go into the studio, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to leave the studio with even more songs, because you end up writing one on the fly or going back in and doing another one, because, you know, so you always end up having to cut songs for an album, like, and it's difficult, you know. Certain people love more certain songs. Certain people have their real heart set in it, especially if, you know, like, well, I've really nailed that one. I felt like personally my performance was great in this one, and we're not using it. It's difficult, but the only way to actually agree and you know, be happy with the songs that you've picked, the selection that you're going to show to the world, you've just got to sit down and discuss it, like, and you've got to listen to everyone's opinion, and you've just got to weigh it up as a group. And I mean, it takes time, and it's difficult. And I sometimes feel that the more opinions of people, you know, particularly people you respect, like, if you have their opinions and you compile them all together, and it's just a big debate. But thankfully, usually at the end of it, we're all happy with the outcome, and we definitely were happy with the outcome on this album, you know. And that's the most important thing, you know. Sadly, not all the songs can make the album. I mean, if we probably have multiple albums worth of material that didn't make the album, or songs we just recorded on the fly and have never seen the light of day. Like, you don't even know how many songs we've done. It's crazy. So, you know, maybe one day they'll all get released and put out into the world. But for now, you know, we've decided on our song selection, and that's what we want to show the world. And that's what, you know, we've deemed is Asking Alexandria's 5th album, you know?
And, you know, that really says a lot about the inspiration and creativity that's going into the band, that the fact that you have so many songs that you're able to choose from, and it's that much of a struggle to be able to decide what songs are going to fit together on an album. And I can definitely say from the fan perspective and being able to check out the album from start to finish so many times now that the track order, the songs listed, everything together just flows so naturally from start to finish that it was definitely the right way to go about things with the way that everything's lined up on this album.
Yeah, well, that's a really important thing. Like, the way you piece together an album is really important. Like, obviously, a lot of people will just go ahead and just listen to singles, and fair dues. But I do, we're all very strong believers in the order of the album is incredibly important, and that's the way we would always listen to an album. If someone releases an album, we put it on and we listen to it from start to finish, and that's what you do. That's the way they intend for you to listen to it, and I feel like you should do that to do it justice. So when we do that, even like when we're creating songs, obviously the songs have to correlate together and have to, fit together. I mean, you could do an album of all these different styles and genres, and yeah, it's pretty cool, but we like it when, the album flows and they all work well together, and there is like a wave of emotion and movement and energy of the album. It's really important,
Yeah, I mean, that's so important, and that's what matters so much when you want to put out an album, especially in today's day and age. I mean, there's so many different things that go into putting out an album, like business and ethics and just from the band perspective. So when you do have the opportunity to put out an album, you don't want to put out a bunch of songs that you're not going to care about on an album. You want to make sure that every single song matters and those songs fit together well. And especially with you guys, I mean, the fact that you guys do put in so much time and effort to make sure that all the songs flow together, there's those great ebb and flows that goes within each album. Everything just seems to go in the right direction. And, that just continues on with the new self-titled album. I mean, everything that's known about the band and, just like going into even more great territory with this time around. I mean, everything just flows together so well, and it just makes for a great quality album.
Yeah, well, I mean, because at this point in our careers, this is a very important part for us. This is the first album that Danny's back with us since like 2013. Like this is a big thing, and of course we can write songs all day. That's what we do. We find it rather easy to write songs. It's that's what bands do. You can just write a selection of songs, put them together, make an album, whatever. But is that as important as writing an actual album that correlates together and works together? I don't think so. And so, that's one of the factors into deciding which songs to make the album, deciding the order of the album. It is important, and we wanted to make an impression. I mean, we wanted people to be like, wow, this is actually a really just solid album. It's not like, okay, Asking have done like 3 really, really good songs and then they've just got some like B-sides stuck around them. No, fuck that. We want to have an album of really good songs. Like, we want to have too many singles. And that's kind of what we went in there hoping that we're going to do. It's like, we're going to have too many singles to work on the album. Like, we're going to have too many things to take to radio. We're going to have too many music videos. Like, we really wanted to make like a out of the ballpark album, and I personally am really proud of it, and I hope that the rest of the world sees that. I mean, you keep saying you really like it too, so we're already one step closer.
In speaking of that, I mean, I mentioned it in the beginning, and I'm glad to hear you say it as well. Like, there's like so many great choices that can be used as singles for the album. How hard was it to be able to decide what was going to be like the first taste that people were going to be able to check out from the album?
Well, obviously the first song we released, Into the Fire, we wanted the mixture of, it needs to be different. It needs to be something like a new vibe, a new feel, which I feel like Into the Fire is that. It's asking, it's definitely asking, but it's asking like you haven't heard them before, and we also wanted it to tell a story. We wanted the lyrics to be powerful. We wanted our fans to realize that, this is a meaningful album about, stuff that's been going on in our lives. It's emotionally important to us. And we still wanted it to be, it have that heavier element. which, again, I think Into the Fire does. It was just sort of, it encompassed all the things that we wanted to showcase from the album. And, and I mean, we all love this song. We like all the songs in the album, but I think it was a pretty easy choice for us that we knew we wanted to release Into the Fire first. Because there is certain other singles that are maybe a little bit further into this new realm or this new vibe of Asking. I don't feel like we've lost our sound at all, but some are they're further down the fucking rabbit hole, if you know what I mean. Like, and Into the Fire, I feel like was definitely still approachable to even the most hardcore loyalist of Asking Alexandria fans. I feel like they can still enjoy it. So it was pretty easy for that single. And then we just released another single. It premiered on UK radio yesterday. Was it the day before? It was another more of like a radio song, or like a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say softer, but not as aggressive or not as dark a song. Dark content, but musically actually kind of uplifting. And that's called Alone in the Room. And that's, again, like, that's actually our label's favorite song, but I don't feel like that would have been as effective releasing it first as Into the Fire. Like, it's all about like the rollout. How are we doing it? Do we do it like this way? Do we do it that way? You don't want to throw too much of a heavy song first, because then you're going to push away the fans that maybe like the more sing-along, the lighter aspects of Asking. But then vice versa, you don't want to go and release just a solid, like a softer song first, because then, your hardcore, like, Asking fans that have been there since, like the heavier, 2009 days, they're going to feel like this, they've been left in the dark. So, but yeah, I feel like Into the Fire definitely ticked all the boxes for first. And then, as the coming months go on, you're going to see, obviously, new music videos, new tracks coming out. I feel like at that point, everyone's just going to be into them anyway, because they'll have already heard the album.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see that Alone in a Room was chosen as the next single. I mean, that just felt like a great diverse song, in comparison to Into the Fire, to like show off all the different sides of the album just between two songs, and just being able to show off like more of the heavier side, the more anthemic sides, and a little more of the more melodic, mellow sides that's also going on there as well. I mean, there's a little something for everybody. If you've ever enjoyed anything from Asking Alexandria, I think there's going to be something for every fan to be able to really appreciate with this album.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and that's kind of the way we intended on doing it. Like, we didn't want to leave any stone unturned. Like, we wanted to. Everyone has a little something. Like, I don't feel like we're missing anyone out. And as well, I know that Alone in a Room means an awful lot to Danny. It talks about a lot. That song's lyrically is a lot about his time away from the band. And that's definitely a message that he wanted to get out to the world, and he wanted to say like some stuff about that. So getting it out there and releasing it as a single, it feels good.
And speaking of that, of course, with all the great lyrical content that's going on, and of course all the great musical content that's going on, just like from the more metallic approaches, the more anthemic approaches, the more melodic approaches, all of this is going to be, I imagine, represented quite well when you guys are going out on tour with Black Veil Brides coming up in January. I mean, it's great to see that you guys are able to put on such a great, long-lasting tour to be able to promote the new album.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fantastic tour. People that are coming should expect a larger than life show. We're definitely pulling out all the stops for that tour. It's going to be even people that have seen us, 10 times this will be the show to remember. This is going to be a whole different thing. You've never seen Asking like this, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, it's going to be good. And then there's going to be a lot of tours that are going to be released. And we've been releasing festival dates in Europe. There's all sorts. It's going to be a busy 2018.
Yeah, that's so great to hear that too. I mean, the fact that you guys are coming to my neck of the woods a couple of times in Minnesota, and I saw yesterday it was announced for Northern Invasion in Somerset, Wisconsin, which is right across the river from Minnesota. The fact that you guys are hitting here so much, and of course, hitting the world, being able to promote this great new album, and the fact that you guys are working already on being able to get these worldwide tours going on for 2018. It's great to see that the album is going to be getting that proper live promotion that it really deserves. I mean, as great as they are on the album, I imagine that they're going to sound even better live.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like, we write music for live, like a lot of bands, like, sometimes lose sight of that, and it's very easy to do that in the digital age, writing a lot on computers. You can sometimes lose the feeling of it and the energy of how it's going to be performed live. Whereas, we've always stuck true to our guns, and we always want to be a good live band. That's what got us to where we are. That's what keeps us going. We want to have that energy live, and that's what's important. So all these songs, I feel, are going to go down really, really well live. There's going to be times for crowd participation. They're going to be singing along. They're going to be jumping with us. It's going to be a good time.
One last question I wanted to ask you before I let you go and continue on with your day is, of course, from the drumming aspect, I've always appreciated what you've done over all the albums that Asking Alexandria has done so far. Are you approaching anything different as far as like your setup or anything for the upcoming tour to be able to promote the new album?
You know what? This wasn't even a conscious effort, really, but I've been using less double bass drum work in the new album. Like I said, not a conscious effort. There still is some, but it's definitely not on the same vibe as our previous albums. So I'm thinking about moving back to a single bass drum, single kick, and just for more of like a symmetry thing. I feel like I just wanted one facing directly forward, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on behind me and whatnot. But yeah, apart from that, setup wise, I'm still sort of keeping the same selection of cymbals and drums. I'm just maybe using them in a little bit of a different way. But I'm definitely happy with the way everything's set up. I have just the right amount of regular crashes, and then effects cymbals and chinas and whatnot for me to play around with, and the different speeds and tones of the cymbals. I'm pretty happy with what I can create with them. But yeah, I just feel like there's more going on with my hands and less going on with my feet on this album, which has been a nice change. Something a bit different. Not so much crazy like Dylan stuff on your feet.
And, from the drumming aspect and also from the fan perspective as well, I mean, I really appreciate the fact that you do go more with the groove type beats on this album rather than just showcasing all the great double bass that you're capable of. Because, it's like the songs would have had a completely different feel if you would have just focused so much more on double bass rather than playing for what the song really calls for. And the fact that you do go with that approach on the album, I mean, I think it really makes the song stand out more, and they'll make the songs stand out that much more live compared to going back and playing songs from the past albums.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. We really wanted this album to groove, and that's something that Matt was really, really awesome about pushing in the studio. Like, sometimes, like, when we're getting the drums, like, if we're changing heads on the drums, or, we're driving to go get some lunch or something before we go and do some writing or whatever, we'll just be listening to like hip hop music and like electronic stuff, but like trap music stuff with like really interesting beats and beats that would make you want to bop your head, want to groove more so than just nod your head. You know what I mean? Like, and that would like sometimes just give me some inspiration and just give me a different feel. And like certain tracks we just started. It's like, well, the drums are set up, James, just go play around. Just go play some beats. Let's see what we're feeling today. And, I'll just get in the room and I'll just start playing. you know, and then you know, songs could form from there, or just even a vibe, you know, like just something to start from. It's so that was it's definitely something that's been playing on all of our minds. It's like, how are we going to get the crowd to, you know, want to dance to this and like want to move to this in a different way than maybe we've done in the past. You know, it's not just a straight, you know, like punk beat or like a rock beat. It's more like there's more of a bounce to it. There's more of a groove to it, and you know, and then I feel like that it's even harder then when you go into something straight, you know.
Yeah, and you know, it's definitely a great approach to that as well. I mean, also, you know, just from like the live production wise, like when you're able to focus more on just like one bass drum and making sure that you can get that great sound coming out of it, rather than making sure that you got like that full metallic attack on there. When you do focus on those more groove-based sounds off the album, I mean, like from the drum production standpoint, it's going to make everything stand out that much more. And subconsciously, I think the fans are also going to really appreciate that live too, just like you said, with being able to dance and groove a lot more with it, rather than just focusing so much on metallic attack.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like people are really gonna. I feel like this album's really gonna go off live. I'm feeling very confident about it. You know, I'm feeling great vibes, and I'm just practicing through the set at home. You know, and I'm really looking forward to meeting up with the guys and getting into rehearsals and really, you know, planning how we're going to approach this live show, because we've got the set list. We know the set list. We know the production. Now it's just, you know, we're going to meet up and how we're going to roll this out to the world, you know. And I think it's going to be a really, really good time, man. I think it's going to be a great time.
And that makes me very happy to hear that you guys feel that way. I mean, with the fact that Danny's back in the band, that you guys are going out on tour, Black Veil Brides, doing this awesome co-headlining tour, and of course being able to promote the brand new album from Asking Alexandria, which comes out this Friday through Sumerian. I mean, it seems like everything is just going right for the band, and you know, there's so many trials and tribulations that go into being in a band, and it's just so awesome to see like all the positivity and all the great moments that are happening with the band right now. And I really hope that continues on throughout the rest of the year into 2018 and everything to come in the future, because it seems like everything's just going so right for you guys, and it's so awesome to see that, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to be doing in the future when it comes to that as well.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, not a problem. Before we wrap things up here, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, not really. I just say, I mean, as a message to like our fans, I just say, you know, thank you for supporting us through all the years, all the stuff that's gone on with this band. Thank you guys for your like loyal support. If you are an Asking, you know, fan and haven't yet picked it up, please go pre-order the album. You know, listen to it, enjoy it, come see us live. You won't be disappointed, and I'd recommend getting your tickets quick because shows are selling out already. So they will go. So yeah.